Sometimes through social media, I get offered some really cool cars. And today just happens to be one of those days because a chap called Bailey has messaged me on Instagram and offered me a car for just £100. Hopefully, it doesn't look in the same condition as this. Let's go find out. So this is Bailey. Bailey, this is your BMW Z3, potentially my BMW Z3. Tell us a little bit about it, because it looks like it's been sat here for 100 years.
Yeah, it's been a while. So I bought it 2023, just a little stopgap car. Drove it for 2 months, no issues with it at all, parked it up. Plan was to then get it ready for summer, sell it, make a bit of profit. That didn't happen.
Okay.
I just left it there and then here you are.
Here I am. Old Dickens over here has come to buy another old rotten motor. Okay, so I don't actually really know anything about this car. We don't know if it starts. Obviously you said it hasn't been started in a year and a half. I don't know the mileage on it. I don't know the history on it, anything like that. But I'm gonna do you a deal. Regardless of its condition and what's wrong with it, if it starts, I'll have it.
That's
Deal?
a good deal to me.
What have I done? Should we see if we can get it started? So before we try and start, we're gonna have a quick look around it. Now, it is absolutely covered in mold, which is to be expected. It's been sat here for quite a while, but I'm a bit worried about what lies beneath because in here and everywhere it looks very, very damp. So I'm gonna start off with the boot because the battery is in the boot and oh my God. Oh, this is a disaster. There's loads of condensation. I mean, that is literally dripping. That is soaking wet. It looks like someone's literally got a hose pipe and poured it in here. There's loads, oh. I wish you could smell this because it is so grim. I mean, there's a radio in here. Look, just look how wet all of this is. It's soaked. Also a diff in here, which is a bit concerning, and a battery and a starter motor. So far, not so good. Now, down the side, they're off of an E39 M Sport. They're quite nice. They do look a bit big on this, but they're probably worth a few £100. So I might be able to sell those and recoup a bit of money. Again, lots of mold, loads of bits of earth and tree on the scuttle and the windscreen wipers. And then round the front, a missing grille. Yeah, it just looks a bit unloved, doesn't it, really? It looks very, very unloved. Shall we see what it's like inside? This is grim. I'm surprised that mold hasn't got up and walked off. That is so lively. That is absolutely grim. I wish you could smell this. It's almost burning the eyes. I like that that box says aroma diffuser on it. It's not doing a very good job. Yeah, there's a lot of damp and mold and nastiness in here. The carpets are soaking wet. The seats are not actually wet, just moldy. I don't even want to touch or look at anything, so I'm just going to pop the bonnet and pretend that this doesn't exist because it's horrible. Oh, look at this. Oh. Right, let's have a look at the business end. Oh yes, this is where it's at. 1.9 M44 16 valve Bruno at BDS Motorsport absolutely swears by these engines. They are fabulous. They take a lot of stick, they're high revving, they're brilliant fun. About, I think, 140 horsepower. Really good little lump. So first thing we're going to do is check the oil and make sure that that looks all right, which it actually does. It looks quite clear. It's up to the maximum. It's quite nice. And actually, the engine bay is probably the best looking bit of this car. It looks like it's got a new alternator on it, a new thermostat housing on it, and overall looks all right. There's a bit of duct tape on this inlet hose and a bit of duct tape on this breather hose, which they probably won't replace in, but looks all right. I'm quite impressed. So let's get a battery in it and see if she'll fire up. So first things first, I had to empty out the extremely moist boot to get to the battery, as this little Z3 was completely dead. Yeah. Uncovering the battery revealed where all of that water was going. Battery disconnected, it was a simple task of lifting it out and putting in a working battery, but not before draining all of the water in the boot by popping out the little drain plug in the boot floor. Me, this is so wet, this car.
Battery in, it was time to see if this little car would start.
Right. Oh, we've got lamps. Should we try it? No.
As the battery I'd put in wasn't brand new, it's likely it just didn't have enough power to start the engine on its own. So I hooked up another car and let it charge for a few minutes. If this doesn't work, then we clearly have bigger problems.
Right, so the jump leads have been on for about 5 minutes now, so it's time to give it another go. Fingers crossed. Come on, old girl. Oh, on the button! Yes! Oh, don't die, don't die! Oh, yes! I've just bought myself a BMW Z3. Right, so before I go and load it up, I'm going to try and clean some of this off so I don't catch something, because this is really grim. Now that's clean, let's get this back to the unit and see if we can breathe some life into this old girl. Right, so the Z3 is back at the unit, and first things first, I'm going to start off with the interior because it's grim, full of rubbish, absolutely stinks and is awful. So we're going to give it a good clean, throw everything away, and hopefully it might be habitable by me and no other creatures.
First things first, rubbish. There's a lot of it in this car, and before I can clean anything, it all has to come out. But I got distracted.
Oh. Wait. Come on, Biggles, let's go.
Anyway, once that was done, I could hoover out the car, starting with the seats, then the floor mats and the carpet. With debris-free surfaces, I can wipe everything down, removing all of that mould, which was literally everywhere in this car. Which, I'm not going to lie, was absolutely disgusting, especially the sun visors. As you can imagine, this took a while. Final touches were a new gear knob because the old one was in terrible condition, and I left an ozone machine in the car to kill all harmful bacteria.
So now that the interior is looking fabulous, it's time to move on to the exterior, and boy am I looking forward to this.
I started by spraying the whole car down with some traffic film remover to help loosen all the dirt and grime which covered every inch of this poor Z3. I left all of that for a few minutes to dwell on the paint. While that was happening, I applied wheel cleaner to all four wheels, and then this had been the part I'd really been looking forward to. Jet washing. Making sure to work from the top down, I focused on the soft top roof, which is actually in amazing condition. Bailey did mention it had a recent new soft top, and despite all that mould and moss, it seemed to be coming up really nicely. I went around the rest of the car with a pressure washer, taking extra care over the body lines and anywhere that moss had been collecting while the car was parked up. And the car was really starting to look great. The next step is a contact wash, but before that I decided to spray the engine down with degreaser. Well, once I found a spray bottle that worked.
Oh dear.
This is a great way to not only improve the look of your engine bay, but also make diagnosing leaks easier. And then it was time to move back to the bodywork.
Just gets better, doesn't it?
I started off by scrubbing the roof with a soft bristle brush to get rid of any dirt or debris that the pressure washer hadn't removed. I then shampooed the entire car with a soft fibre mitt to avoid creating any more scratches, and then finally it was time to hose the car down and dry it off. With the car now clean, it uncovered some blemishes that could do with some attention, so I hit those areas with a light machine polish and some cutting compound. I also polished the headlights, which made a huge difference. It was then time to push the car into the barn so I could begin the mechanical work, because while this Z3 does start and drive, it was running terribly.
I'm going to start off with an oil and filter change, air filter change, spark plugs. I've got new intake hoses as well because they make it not run very nicely. And I've got another set of wheels for it because these stick out of the arches too far and are actually an MOT failure. So let's get cracking and get it running nice. Right, so I'm going to bung it up in here. It's something to do with the lower rigor mortis I'm working out.
With the car up in the air, I started by draining the old oil. While the oil drained, I then went to change the old oil filter, but found something weird.
There's the... Where's it gone? It's alright, false alarm. It's here. Actually doesn't look that bad. I'm going to say that when this was taken off the road, it was probably serviced not too long before. Good practice to change it anyway, because obviously it is old. It don't cost much and there ain't no harm in changing it. You might as well change it.
Before putting the new oil filter in, I changed the rubber O-rings on the oil filter housing. Once done, I could install the oil filter. I then put a new washer on the sump plug before screwing that in, and finally I could fill the engine with new oil. With that taken care of, I removed the airbox to get the old air filter out, which revealed a lot of leaves in this airbox from where the car had been sat. I hoovered these up and moved on to the perished inlet hose, which revealed a huge hole in it. This could be part of the reason the car is running poorly. I fitted the new inlet hose, which was just a couple of simple clips, and put the new air filter in. I put the airbox back on, plugged in the MAF, and then it was time to move on to the breather hoses down the back of the engine. It was a bit fiddly, but with the loom moved out of the way, there was just enough space to get the old perish hose out and fit the new one. So the intake hoses are done, breather hose is done, air filter's done. Next up is the spark plugs, and then we are done with the engine bay and we can move on to the wheels. I removed the cover, popped off the HT leads and unscrewed the spark plugs, which didn't look great. Good thing I'm replacing them. It was then the simple case of putting the new spark plugs in. When tightening the spark plugs up, if you don't possess a torque wrench, the best way to judge how tight to do them is screw the threads all the way down like that, and then it stops, and then you tighten it and you can feel the washer crush. Now on the bottom of the spark plug there is a crush washer. If I get you a new one, for example, you will see that washer is slightly thicker than that washer, and that is because that one's already been fitted and the washer's already been crushed. That one hasn't, it is still uncrushed. So when you tighten them up, you feel the washer crush, it stops, and that is as tight as you need to go. Never over tighten your spark plugs. It's top tip for you there. See, Tyler's top tips. Ka-chow. Fresh spark plugs in, it was time to address the wheels. But first, now is a good time to visually check all of the suspension, check for any play on the ball joints and make sure that it's likely to go through an MOT. Yeah? Check, oh, there ain't no play in that. So the suspension components should be MOT ready. I then moved on to changing the wheels to a set that would fit better in the arches. I happen to have a set of style 24 wheels laying around with some used AR1 tyres. I'll change these tyres in the future, but for the sake of getting my little Z3 through its MOT, these will work just fine. New wheels on, the car was looking great, but we ran into a bit of a problem. So it's still got a bit of a misfire, so what I'm going to do is start it up and I'm going to spray some brake cleaner around the inlet to see if it revs up slightly. If it does, that will indicate that it's still got a bit of an air leak, so I'm going to check that now. I went round all the engines spraying brake cleaner, but it made no difference, so clearly the air leak wasn't the issue. This then turned my attention elsewhere. Might have found the issue. It runs the same with that unplugged or plugged in. And to be honest, looking at the end of that HT lead, even if I touch it on there, it should spark against the rocker cover. So I'm going to say it's actually probably a bad coil. If I unplug another one, you can clearly hear the car starts running lumpy, so there must be something wrong with the ignition on cylinder 1, or at least that's what I thought. Put a spark plug in the end of it, like that, and then start it up. So that plug is actually sparking. So we're going to call this a day for now. I'm going to do a bit more digging, replace maybe the HC leads of the coil, and yeah, I'll see you another day. So today is another day. I've had a little think, and I think the cause of the misfire is either a faulty coil or faulty HT leads. So I've been out and I have bought a brand new, genuine second-hand coil and HT lead set. I've also bought a new fog lamp because that's missing, and eagle-eyed viewers will notice I've bought an exhaust because the one that's on there is horrible and it's too large, so I've bought a standard one. It's also too loud. The good news is we have all of this. The bad news is this car is booked in for an MOT in an hour. So we've got just under an hour to get all these bits fitted. We're going to get it down to the MOT station and fingers crossed it will pass. And if it does, we're going to take it out for a drive today, and I'm really excited because it's a gorgeous day out there. So let's get cracking. I mean, it's not in the best of shape, I will be honest. It's probably a good job we're changing this. Now, I know that this one is second-hand, but I will stick by this theory. I would always rather buy second-hand bits than cheap Chinesium aftermarket bits because they usually work better. Plus, these don't really fail that often. Also, it's cheap. Fitting the new coil pack and leads was just a few bolts and a case of pushing the leads onto the spark plugs. It was time to see if the car was running right now. Yeah, oh yeah, there we go. Okay, that's nice, that. Cheers, dog.
There we go. Yeah, come in here, take a shit, and then leave. That's what everyone else does.
I moved on to the fog light. It was just held in with 2 bolts and a small plastic cover. Next, I needed to jack the car up and change that horrible exhaust. Once under the car, the bolts on the exhaust bracket were easy to unbolt. It was then just a case of slipping the back box from its hangers at the back. Refitting was the opposite of removal, but now I needed to check to see if the work I'd done had fixed that misfire, and would we even make it for the MOT?
Now, if you remember before, it ran, but it was misfiring, so fingers crossed that new coil has sorted it. Let's give it a try. Oh, that sounds alright.
So I loaded the car up on the trailer, and for the moment of truth, will this extremely cheap little Z3 pass its MOT and live again?
Great news, couple of advisories, but it's passed, so I'm going to stick a bit of fuel in it and we can go out for a drive. What a beautiful day for it and all.
No.
My first drive in the little Z3, and what are my faults? Well, I'm absolutely over the moon, I won't lie to you. Yes, it's not the best car in the world, the Z3, but the story behind this car makes it. Only a few days ago now, this car would have been in the bin. If Bailey hadn't messaged me on Instagram and offered me this car, he would have literally scrapped it. It was covered in moss, covered in mould, it stank in here, it was full of water, it was grim. And to be able to take a car like that, that's knocking on death's door, and put it back on the road, I've enjoyed doing it. I've really enjoyed working on this car, it's been a hoot. Yes, we had a few problems with it misfiring and causing issues, but working around that and fixing it and getting it to work is so satisfying. It's really great. And then taking this car for an MOT and it passing and you driving it on the road for the first time, it never gets old. It really doesn't. If you've ever done it before, you'll understand. If you haven't done it, do it. And yeah, don't get me wrong, the Z3 isn't the best convertible in the world. It's not quite as tight or as light as an MX-5, but it's lovely to cruise about in, especially on a day like today. The sun's shining, the sky is blue, there's a fantastic piece of road ahead of me, and I am just smiling from ear to ear. I absolutely love it. It just goes to show that you don't need £1 million and 1,000 horsepower to have fun. Something as cheap and as small and as simple as this can really put a smile on your face, and it can be so satisfying in the process. So what have we spent on this car so far, you may be asking? So I bought it for 100 quid with the service bits, the coil, the exhaust and a few other little bits. It owes just under £400. But I sold the Style 66 wheels on this car for 350 quid. And yes, I did have these spare wheels when I first got it, and I put them on and they're probably worth about 200 quid. This car owes not a lot. I don't even think I could buy lunch for what this car owes. And it's not even really about that. It's just the satisfaction of taking this poor old car, which is now 28 years old, and bringing it back to life. And hopefully, with what I've done to it, it will last for another 28 years. I really hope you've all enjoyed this episode. If you want to see more car stuff, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you for the next one. Oh, it's great!